What did that do to you?
I became a shell of myself. I didn't know who I was. I actually have a couple posts on my page where I have a post that says, I knew her body better than I knew my own.
Stop. Let that sit there. You said you knew another woman's body better than you knew your own.
Yes, several women. I knew several other women's bodies better than I knew my own. And I spent a lot of time, like I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I knew when they had met up. So I watched their videos of them having so I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me. And that is a low point to be. And I'm tearing up a little bit because I hate that I even got to a point where that was a thing, but that it was just that. My own, completely lost myself. I became a shell of myself. I tried to imitate their hair, their actions, even sexual things that I had seen him doing with them. I tried to recreate that in our life when we were engaged, and none of it amounted to anything.
Yo, no matter who the man is, we've all done our dirt. We've all treated women wrong. But this is something I've never heard of in my life. This man, in some type of way, was sleeping with women and filmed everything, and somehow she had access to the videotapes. And I know a lot of you men and women may say, well, why didn't she just leave? She had video evidence of all the stuff he was doing. There's no reason for her to stay. Well, there's a problem. Sometimes the person you're with, you got with them due to a trauma bond. And when a relationship starts off due to a trauma bond and is not healthy, that particular person doesn't think they can leave. There's something called enmeshment, and a lot of people think they're in love with somebody, but they're actually enmeshed with that person. Enmeshment happens when you become over attuned to another person's emotional needs to the point where you actually start thinking about their needs and their wants and ignoring your needs and your wants. And then one day you wake up and realize that you don't even know who you are anymore. And the reason why a person will become so enmeshed with another person is simply because if they give their all to the other person and you literally give up your entire identity to that other person in hopes that they give you something that you never got even from your parents. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think Derrick Jaxn picked a woman like this on purpose so he can do whatever it is that he wanted to do for as long as he wanted to do it without her ever leaving him. I'm sure she had 1,000 opportunities to leave, but she didn't. He had to leave her.
I went in such a deep hole where I was like studying these women. I would go to their profiles and I would study their pages and like what they wear. I watched their videos of them having so I would try to imitate that and recreate that in our relationships so that he could choose me and want me.
Just thinking about what she just said, if you as a woman start being somebody else for your man or for men, period. Because some of y'all are single and do these things that she's saying for men altogether. You start wearing your hair differently. You start walking differently. You start talking differently. So altogether, she is taking the role of the women that he was sleeping around with. But some of you are taking the role of men that you want are sleeping around with. And this is actually called your role self. Operating in your role self literally drains the vitality of your true self because you end up forgetting who you actually are, because it's almost like telling a lie. You ever heard somebody say, if you tell a lie, you now have to tell another lie and another lie and another lie, and then you end up forgetting what reality actually is because you done told 8 different lies to support the first lie? Well, living in your role self, assimilating other women, whether it's this situation with Derrick Jaxn or either just a single woman trying to assimilate with other women to get attention from men, you end up losing yourself. So even though what she's saying sounds a lot, it's actually normal for traumatized women to actually do this. The reason why is most likely you learned how to do this when you were a child. See, in a lot of situations, your mother or father wanted you to be something that you actually wasn't. She wanted you to wear your hair away. She wanted you to dress a certain type of way. She wanted you to do this. She wanted you to do that. A father may push or maybe force his son to play football because he played football when he was young. But essentially, the son doesn't want to play football. He just wants to play video games. So young people end up assimilating with their own parents due to the fact that their parents want their child to be little thems. So now you as a child is operating in this role and it's not really you. But the reason why you do this and operate in this role for your parents is for validation, because the more you do what your parent wants you to do or operate the way your parent wants you to operate, the more validation, the more love, the more appreciation you get from them. But then we grow up and start doing the same thing for men or women. So in this situation, she's looking to play a role. So in her situation, she starts seeing what Derrick Jaxn actually is liking and wanting. Now she has to go back to the role self that she probably played when she was a child. Whoever the person that I want to love me wants me to be or do, I'll just do. And next thing you know, you totally lose yourself. And I got this directly from a book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, because it comes from childhood trauma. But the longer you operate in your role self versus your true self, and what ends up happening is you end up forgetting who you are, what you want, what you like, and what makes you happy. You only know or care about what makes other people happy. And that is how you lose yourself. And just for the record, I like to offer solutions instead of just doing videos. And I made a card game called Deeper Discussions, where individuals can have these deep discussions with the people that they're dating before they get married, before they have kids together. And now after playing the card game together, you have a better understanding of the person's family trauma, family issues, personal issues, what they're looking for in a mate. Because in this situation with Dania, they got together in college. They just started dating and they just stayed together. And there's a possibility that some of these deeper discussions never really were had because they were too young. But with us who are single, we don't know the person that we're dating, and nobody really wants to talk about family issues or childhood trauma. So the introverts and the people who don't necessarily like rocking a boat, they can simply just play a card game with the person that they're dating, and you can get all the information that you actually wanted to know without it being awkward, because it's a card game. So you can avoid male and female Derrick Jaxn type of people. Just hit the link at the top of this video and get the card game. And I want to ask you all, have you ever lost yourself in another person? Share your story in the comments. Let's see if we can come up with a solution for all this. Drop your thoughts in the comments.